Hello everyone. In previous session, we have discussed about Java and its history and some of the features. Today we're going to discuss about variables, data types and some operators in Java. So variables. So a variable is nothing but a container. So which holds some values. So these values get stored in the memory location. So that location is reserved for that particular variable. In order to access those values, we will set a name for that value. That will be called as variable name. So if you want to access those data, we need to refer through the variable name only. These variables has some values. So that value depends upon the type of data we're gonna use. Okay. These values can be changed any part of the programs. As you can say by the name of this variables, okay, which means variable. So at any part of the program, the values can be changed. In Java, must be specified as a certain type or class. So a variable has some values, right? That value should represent some type. We have int type, float, char, string. These are some of the types we're gonna use. The type of the variable specifies its property. So if I want to specify integer as a type, then that variable should contain only an integer value. So the data it can store and the operation that can be performed on it depends upon the type we're gonna use. So for example, I'm using a int type, and most important is Java is fairly strict about enforcing data type value. Here I have declared int I and assigning a value of a string. So if we assign anything between a double quote, that will be assigned as a string value. Okay. It will throw an error, which is compilation error, because the type I have specified is int and the variable I am using is I, but I am assigning a value which doesn't support the type I have declared. And one more thing is for numeric types, you even get an error if the value assigned will lose precision if placed in the variable. And the next thing, generally speaking, this means we can place smaller values into the larger variables, but we can't place larger values into the smaller variables. For example, these are some of the types we can specify for a variable: byte, short, int, long, and float double. So we can specify double data type for a integer value. Okay, but we can't specify integer value, integer type for a double value, because byte is smaller and it goes on from ascending to descending. So double holds large number. So for example, int I equal to 3.5. So int can't have float or double value because it is smaller compared to the double and float type. Double x equal to 100. Here I am using the type double with the variable in x and assigning an integer value of 100. Okay. Here there will be no compilation error or any error because a double type can store an integer value. So the next thing is floating point literals in Java are by default double. So if we specify a float type in Java and assigning some values, then by default that value will be taken as a double data type. So here I am declaring int I equal to 5, then int j equal to 4.5, assigning some float or double value in the integer j variable. Then I am declaring another variable x with a float type. Then I am casting that value into the another variable y. So now I equal to z. So z is 100. So there will be no error. So y equal to z. Y is float, and that will also have no error. Z equal to I. There is no throw error. Then j equal to long of y. So long of y, there will be some loss of precision error because y is a float data type value. So long is nothing but an integer type. So there will be some precision losses. And j equal to byte of y. So byte also contains a value with a range within an integer range. So that will also have some loss of precision error. In Java, variables falls in two categories: primitive types, simple types whose values are stored directly in the memory location associated with a variable. So int var1 equal to 100. So so 100 is stored in the memory location which is reserved for the variable var1. Okay. There are 8 primitive types in Java. So byte, short, int, long, float, double, char and boolean. So we will be discussing about this thing further. Okay. So in Java, all variables must be declared before they can be used. Okay. You need to declare a variable before you can use that in the programming. So I am declaring a value x equal to 5.0. So this will cause an error because I am not declaring the x before. If I declare float x semicolon, then I am initializing x equal to 5.0. This will does not throw any error. If I doesn't declare a variable, that will throw a variable is not declared type of error. So cannot resolve symbol variable x. So it can't find whether this variable is declared or not. So Java variables can be initialized in the same statement in which they are declared. So in order to declare, you need the syntax data type, variable name and a semicolon. So that is the syntax to declare a variable. You can initialize that variable with a value later, like x equal to 5.0. You can also initialize in the same statement where you declare a variable. So for that, you need to specify the data type and a variable name with equal to operator. Then you need to specify the value respective to the data type you have specified. Then a semicolon. This is the syntax to initialize a value for the variable. Okay. And multiple variables of the same type can be declared and initialized in a single statement as long as they are separated by commas. So multiple variables can be declared, but they have to be of a same data type. Okay. So like this int I equal to 10, comma j equals 20, comma k equal to 45. So we have seen variables. So variables are nothing but reserved memory locations to store values, right? So that means when you create a variable, you reserve some space in the memory. Based on the data types of a variable, the operating system allocates memory and decide what can be stored in the reserved memory. So based on the type of data type. Okay. So therefore assigning different data types to different variables, we can store integer, decimal or character in those variables. So there are two types of data types available in Java. One is primitive data type and another one is reference or object data type. So primitive data types. So primitive data types have 8 primitive data types. Okay. So these primitive data types are predefined by the language. So these are built-in data types and named by a keyword. So the first primitive data type is byte. So byte data type can hold up to 8-bit. So it's a 8-bit signed 2's complement integer. So if we use a byte data type for a variable, the value should has to be between the range of minus 128 to 127. So that is the range for the byte data type. And the default value will be 0. So if I declare a variable x with the data type byte and I have never initialized it, then the machine will take it the value as 0 by default. So this is a 8-bit signed 2's complement integer. So the byte data type doesn't hold more spaces. So if we use large arrays mainly in the place of integer, since a byte is 4 times smaller than an integer data type. So if we use byte, we can maximize the space efficiency. But the problem is the range should be within minus 128 to 127 only. This is byte data type. Then we have short. So we are going in the order of small to larger, like what we seen in the variables. Okay. Short data type. So this is a 16-bit signed 2's complement. its value should range from minus 32768 to 32767. That is the range for short data type. So short also used to save memory as byte data type because it is 2 times smaller than the integer data type, whereas byte is 4 times smaller than a integer data type. Its value also has a default of 0. So example is short s equal to 10,000, then short r equal to minus of 10,000. The next one is most commonly used is integer. So this is a 32-bit signed 2's complement integer. So this is a 4-byte signed 2 complement integer also, because 1 bit 8 bit equal to 1 byte. So we can also say as 4 byte. Okay, this integer value ranges from minus 2147,483,648 and 2147,483,647. So this is the range for integer data type. As you can see, the value is huge, right? So it also holds more memory. Like integer is generally used as a default data type for integral values unless there's a concern for the memory because it has a large range of values. This also has a default value of 0. The next one is long. So long data type is a 64-bit signed 2's complement integer. So integer is a 32, whereas long is 64, double the integer one. Okay, its value also ranges from minus of 923,372 something to 9223,372 something. So as you can see the range, it has a wide range than the integer. So if we want to specify a huge value, we can use long data type, and we have to typecast it because it will take as an integer value. If I specify 10,000 or something, like for example int a equal to 1000000, so this will also comes under the integer range, but I want it to be in a long data type, so I am specifying L for that value, so it will take it as a long data type. So that is typecast. The next one is float. So float data type is a single precision 32-bit IEEE 754 floating point. So there is a single precision 32-bit value. Okay, float is mainly used to save memory in large arrays because it holds only a single precision value and its size also 32-bit, and its default value is 0.0. Like I said, it also has to be specified with the letter F for the values. Float data type is never used for a precise value such as currencies. The next one is double data type. So double data type is a double precision value, whereas float is single precise 32-bit, double is double precise 64-bit floating point value. So this data type is generally used as a default data type for decimal values, generally the default choice. So in Java, if I specify any floating point value, the machine will take that value as a double data type by default. Okay. So double data type should never be used for precise value such as currencies. So like float, this double also never used for precise values such as currencies. Double has default value of 0, 0.0. Okay. The last or seventh one is Boolean. So Boolean data type represents one bit of information. There are only two possible outcomes. One is true, the another one is false. So this data type is used for simple flags that track true or false conditions. By default, this Boolean data type has the value of false. For example, Boolean 1 equal to true. That's how we defined a variable with the data type Boolean. The last data type is char. Char data type is a single 32-bit Unicode character. So minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 65535. So those are ASCII values. No, Unicode characters differ from ASCII values. So char data type is used to store any character. For example, char of a variable letter A equal to, it has a single 62-bit Unicode character, which is A. So these are primitive data types. Then we have the reference or object data types. So we will be seeing those reference or object data types which are strings, array. So those are some different concepts. So we will focus on those concepts in the upcoming sessions. The next we're gonna see is operators. So an operator is the symbol that specifies an operation to be performed. So these operators are used to perform some operations with a variable we're gonna declare. So these are the some of the operators we will be using in Java. So unary operator, arithmetic operator, shift operator, relational operator, bitwise, logical, ternary, and assignment operator. So unary operator. The Java unary operator requires only one operand. So these unary operators performs two operations. One is decrementing a value by 1, and another one is inverting the value of a boolean. So let's see by an example. Or else I will give a theory part, then I will go for a practical part. So in unary operator we have postfix and prefix. Okay. So plus plus and minus minus, which is increment and decrement. So we have a variable x and the data type I am using is integer. I am initializing a value for a variable in the same statement where I am declaring the variable. So the value is 10. The first one, system.out.println of x plus plus, which is postfix. So in postfix, what will happen means it will print the value, then after that it will increment the value and store that in the memory. So system.out.println of x plus plus, which is post incrementing the x value. Now when I run that particular line, it will give us the output of 10, but the value which will be stored in the x will be 11. So that is postfix. Then the next line is plus plus x, which is prefix. Now it will increment the value and store that value in the variable x. So before printing, it will increment and store the value in the variable, then it will print the value of the variable. So that is prefix. So now the first system.out.println will give us the output of 10. The next will give us the output of 12, because the first line prints the value and stores the incremented value. So x has the value 11. The next line will increment the value, then it will print. So 11 is incremented by 1. So the value x has is 12. In the same manner, system.out.println of x minus minus, so which is postfix of decrement. Now it will print the value, then it will decrement the value. So it will give us the output of 12, then it will decrement to 11. Then system.out.println of prefix decrement. So it will decrement the value first, then it will print. Now the final answer we're going to get is 10. So first line will give us the output of 10, then 12, then 12, then 10. So that is the use of increment and decrement with post and prefix. Another example with the prefix and postfix. So I am declaring two variables a and b with the value 10 and 10. So first system.out.println. So a plus plus, then an operator for adding the value, then plus plus of a. So a plus plus, which is postfix. So 10 plus 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 of a means I have to increment the value. So what we will be getting is 12, because the first a plus plus I will initialize the value of 10, but after that I have to increment the value. So a will get a value 11. Then for plus plus a, that has to increment the value which is 11 to 12. Then the operation of 10 plus 12 will give us the value 22. So the same manner, b plus 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 b plus plus. So for the first b plus plus of will give us the value 10. Then I am incrementing the b value to 11. So for the next is b plus plus to 11 will be the answer. So 10 plus 11 which give us 21. But the final b value will be 12. So arithmetic operators. So Java arithmetic operators are used to perform the basic mathematical calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, divisions. So these are some basic mathematical operations. The operators we used plus, minus, multiply, divide and mod. The next example is I am performing the arithmetic operator in the print statement with all the operators of arithmetic. So 10 into 10 divided by 5 plus 3 minus 1 into 4 divided by 2. So we know that Bode-Morse rule, right? So first we will be calculating the division. So 10 by 5 which gives us 2 and 4 by 2 which gives us 2. Then multiply 10 into 2 20, 1 into 2 2. Then I am performing the minus. So 3 minus 2 1. Then 20 plus 1 which gives us 21. So these are some of the arithmetic operators. And we have mod, right? A mod B. So which will give us the remainder value. So A divided B will give us quotient and A mod B will give us the remainder value. So I will give a practical examination of unary and arithmetic operators. Okay. So int x of 10. Okay. And I want to print the values. If I run this, we get output of 10 because this is a postfix of the variable. So it will print the value first, then it will increment. Plus plus of x, which is prefix. So first x plus plus, which prints the value first, then it will increment. So now for the next one is prefix of x. So it will increment, then it will print. Now the value of x is changed from 10 to 11. As I said, variable's value can be changed at any part of the program. So at first I am initialized with a 10 as our default value. Now it is changed to 11. So here it will increment, then it will print. So the value we're gonna expect is 12. So in the same way, we will perform the decrement also. The X value is 12 here, so it will first print the value, then it will decrement it. So the X value changes from 12 to 11. Here it will decrement the value, then it will print the value. So this is the output we are expecting. So here maybe 10. So 10, 12, 12 and 10. So that's how the post and prefix increment and decrement works. So this will be useful in some looping statements. If I declare another variable the same value of 10, okay. Now I am performing addition operation with now I'm gonna use the same statement for the next one. I'm gonna do a bit of modification here. Y plus plus y. Okay. So in the first thing, x plus plus, which is 10, then the value of x changed from 10 to 11. So after that, I am using the prefix. So it will increment the value 11. Okay. Okay. So initially the value of x is 10. It is printed. Then the value of x is changed from 10 to 11. Then after that I am using the addition operator plus, then I am using a prefix x. So the value of x is 11. It is incremented to 12. Then after it will be executed. So in the same way, y plus plus, which will give us the value 10. After that it is incremented and I am using the addition operation. Then I am using the same postfix y. So it will print the value first, then it will increment. So I am expecting the output to be 22 and 21. So 22 and 21. So these are unary operators. We will discuss about the shift operators and bitwise logical and ternary and the remaining operators in the next session. Okay.